would not believe the amount of times I have seen this guy's name popping up and asking whether or not he could be a Red Wing. I feel like Detroit fans are starting to get a little bit excited. Je suis excité, you could say. Because, if they're not a contender, who really is? The Detroit Red Wings are tied for 4th in the National Hockey League. They're tied for 2nd in the Eastern Conference. If this team is not a contender, then I don't know what is. And, as such, it gives fans the right to legitimately question the possibility of adding some of these top-tier pieces on the market. Could the Detroit Red Wings grab Robert Thomas? Well, let's head over to this article posted on NHLTradeRumor.com to dive into just some hypothetical trade ideas and what packages could look like if you were to make a big move for this St. Louis Blues center. Now, Robert Thomas, obviously, there's a reason why everybody and their mother wants to get this dude. 26 years old, 6 feet, 207, right-handed center, and he's got a lot of cost. He's signed on till the end of 2031, making $8.125 million a year. That's a good chunk of change, but it's not too much. I'd say for the caliber of player that Robert Thomas is, a consistent 70 to 80 point caliber guy who, admittedly, is taking a bad run this year. He's got 33 points in 42 games. He has been over a point per game the past 2 seasons. This year, it's very fair to say that it's because he plays on St. Louis that the numbers are not as good. But I'm not going to let that deter his value. I do think that Robert Thomas is still very good and that if he was on a better team, he'd excel a lot more. He plays a very strong two-way style. He was dubbed the next Bo Horvat, essentially, back when he was drafted in 2017. And I'd say that while he lacks the pure north-south sniping ability that a Bo Horvat has, reputation-wise, he definitely has fit the bill. He's a very solid two-way center. He can win draws, he can score some goals, he can make some nice plays. And guess what? He could be available. So let's dive into this article over here. The NHL trade market just hit a fever pitch. According to St. Louis Blues insider Jeremy Rutherford of The Athletic, star center Robert Thomas is officially available, provided the right overwhelming package lands on Doug Armstrong's desk. While Thomas holds a full no-move clause, the reality of a struggling Blues roster means a change of scenery might be the best for both parties. For a team that pried Thomas out of St. Louis, they aren't just buying a player, they are buying 5+ years of cost certainty at an $8.125 million AAV. That is why the Hurricanes and the Red Wings have emerged as frontrunners. They have the cap space to absorb the hit, and the desperate need for a playmaking 1C, 2C to solidify their championship aspirations. Now, because I'm a Red Wings fan, let's skip over to the Red Wings part of the article. The Red Wings trade package: Nate Danielson, Trey Augustine, and a second for Robert Thomas. A goalie of the future, a nice young center, and a second-round pick for Robert Thomas. Honestly, if I'm Steve Yzerman, I'd do it. But let's dive into what the article says. First and foremost, GM Stevie Y has built a deep cupboard, but the Wings need a star to play behind Larkin. Doug Armstrong famously wants a younger model in return, specifically a stud top-6 forward aged 22 to 24. Detroit is the only team with the surplus to make this work without gutting their current roster. And their current roster obviously does not take a hit if this is the package going back. Nate Danielson is just an extra at this point in time. Yes, he is going to be good, he is going to progress, he is going to become better, and there's a lot of development to be had with Danielson and his long-term career, but he is technically an AHLer at the moment. Meanwhile, you've got Trey Augustine, who isn't even playing pro hockey right now. I get it, he is like one of, if not the best prospects the Wings have in goaltending, so obviously fans would be reticent to part with him. But thinking about what Robert Thomas is and just the value you're bringing back with that kind of a player, I take a look at the long-term Danielson and Augustine potential and I say, you know what? Maybe getting a short-term Robert Thomas addition is actually worth it, especially considering the fact that Thomas is 26 years old, and the guy is signed on till 2031. He's got 5 more years left. He's going to be 31 when that deal expires. This is a really good long-term piece, too. Expert insight, let's go out there and read this in my experience covering the league. Doug Armstrong does not move stars unless he wins the trade decisively. By floating Thomas's name now, he is creating a bidding war between 2 Eastern Conference powerhouses. If I'm the Blues, I'm looking at the Red Wings package. Getting a potential 1C replacement in Danielson plus a goalie of the future in Augustine is exactly how you retool without falling into a decade-long rebuild. I like Nate Danielson a lot. I think this guy has good top 6 potential. Do I think he's got the potential of being what a Robert Thomas is at his peak? Sure, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but the thing is, Robert Thomas is already there. And you could even say that you can get him at a discount because this season has not gone his way in the same way the previous ones have had. Thomas has a ton to offer for a Red Wings team as a bona fide second-line center. You want all this talk about Elias Pettersson? Well, you can say the same thing about Thomas. Play this guy with DeBrincat and Kane and see what happens with his overall points. I doubt that he stays on pace for 56 on the year. And I just now noticed that he missed 11 games as well. Do the math over 82. Let's do 33 divvy 42 multiplied by 82. He is roughly on pace for 64 points with this current metric over a full 82-game campaign. Not as bad, but still not as good as he once was a year ago. The Blues really did take a number on a lot of these guys. I mean, just take a look at the overall statistical breakdown. Everybody is scoring fewer points this season. Dylan Holloway, Buchnevich, Kyrou. I mean, Jordan Kyrou has 24 points in 43 games. Holloway has 17 points. Really? This is the team that a lot of folks were going out there and projecting as a top-tier contender? Okay, we'll just leave it at that. Anyways, this idea, I actually like it a lot, but I can understand if Red Wings fans disagree with the sentiment and express in the comments section why that is. If you want to continue building for the long-term future, then okay, that's fine. But Robert Thomas is 26 years old. He is a mere 5 years older than Nate Danielson. It's not like this guy's a dinosaur. There still is a lot of value that he can provide long-term as well, which is why I think, honestly, the difference, unless you're thinking about the Red Wings being a contender in, like, I don't know, 2035 or whatever, 2040, then maybe that's the only reasonable thought process that makes me think that keeping Danielson over acquiring Robert Thomas makes sense. But if we're talking about the Red Wings now, they're already second in the Eastern Conference. They're already one of the best teams in the league. Give the team a chance to show what they're made of, and give the players a benefit for having such a good season like they have had. Reward this team for how good they have been, and be a buyer. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this trade idea over here? Robert Thomas for Danielson, Augustine in a second. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.